back, everyone. Welcome back to another month, another edition here of Amantes. Amantes is StarCraft number 45, your monthly dose of Brazilian StarCraft. I'm Coach VIP with him, joined by these amazing players and by the villain chat as well. Welcome and all. Something a little bit different here, something special. Welcome back to our broadcast and coverage of a Brazilian tournament. Again, unfortunately, this event was put on the back, put on the backlog for quite some time, just because we were so busy with GSL and with RSL and with all the other events going on. It's been non-stop StarCraft for 6 months. It's been pretty intense, So unfortunately, this did kind of fall by the wayside, as did other events like the War DCB Mondays and some StarCraft Evolution League content as well. But now we're catching up. Now we are able to finally catch up with some of these events, like Amantes, COVID Giants Cup, LATAM, and regular edition, and StarCraft Evolution as well. So we are slated to catch up with all of that throughout the next 2 weeks. Time, alongside our regular scheduled programming, of course. Otherwise, hope you've all been doing well. Hope you have all been doing well for yourselves. As we are jumping into our fresh series, it'll be a best of 3 between Erik and MasTeR. Again, Erik, he is one of our own. He's one of the CranKy Ducklings, best Zerg player in Brazil. Meanwhile, MasTeR, the best Protoss player in Brazil as well. They both do face off very, very often here. This is the upper bracket semifinals. Bear that in mind. They're facing off a little bit earlier in the tournament, and let's jump into said initial best of 3. Erik, of course, he's my boy. He does play some very unique StarCraft, is what I will say. He often does come up with his own builds, his own styles, and often these builds do actually permeate throughout the meta and actually reach players that are above him, like Cyril, like Raynor. Does often happen. But here we go, we're jumping into our fresh series, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, himself, representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. Let's go. Meanwhile, big shout to Yoko3601 in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing for 10 months. For 10 months with Twitch Prime. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy. Hope you have been enjoying the content, the StarCraft, the casting, all the StarCraft. Hope you have been enjoying as we are diving into our initial best of 3. Let's go. Oh, as we do open up with the initial pool first, a gas pool, I should emphasize. So very early gas gadget here out of Erik. With the early gas, typically this means a couple of different things. Either fast link speed into a link flood, it could be link speed into a baneliness, into a bane bus, which is less viable against Protoss. We could be seeing a roach rush out of Erik, or we could be seeing a fast lair. I'm leaning more towards a link flood, but we'll see. We'll see what the gas is going to be spent on. We'll see if we do go into the upgrade or another tech of choice, as we're about to find out. Meanwhile, we do see MasTeR. He does go for the probe scout. He does confirm the delayed expansion, but he has yet to go into the main base. He should soon, though. He should soon go in. There we go. Link speed is on the way. Pulls out of gas. It is indeed a link flood, as we're not mining any more gas for a baneliness or for a roach roaring. Meanwhile, the probe does poke in, and the probe will confirm the early gas and the research on the spawning pool as well. MasTeR knows. MasTeR is fully aware back at home. 2-gate response here, so he's fully walling up. I say fully walling up. Zealot should be chronoed soon, getting a second Zealot and then into a depth follow-up. Now, what is scary about this position here and what is expected, we should be seeing 2 Zealots to defend, then 2 Adepts, and then a massive counterattack with 2 Zealots and then 4 Adepts eventually. I say massive counterattack this early on. Defense is going to be very light for Erik, and it's going to be quite difficult to defend. Not impossible, but it's going to be an intense back and forth here in the early game. But here we go. So yeah, will we see Erik today? I mean, we answered that question immediately, baby. True. Did answer. Behind this, Erik is going for a double expand, going for his natural in his third base, and Erik is droning. So Erik, he's not going all in, and he only made 2 links. Sorry, 6. My apologies. He made 6 links here, so not a big commitment into Zerglings. He's going to try to play a catch-up here, but he did force a reaction out of his opponent, the Zealots and the Adepts. Meanwhile, behind this, Stargate is on the way. MasTeR, he expands. No overreaction. We do see the first Adept almost surrounded, and should be cleaned up. Yeah, he's going to be cleaned up here. Oh, does barely try to shed away. Can we get away? Can we escape? No. Yeah, Yeah, Erik, you'll find the adept, so nice pick off here by Erik. This also means that there is no major counterattack, especially considering that MasTeR is taking up in towards the Stargate instead. So the game is going to slow you down, and in the end, is Erik in a good position? I mean, he is droning up, that is true. He's saturating, he's getting his queens up and running, and the adepts are staying at home, so not bad. Like Erik, he's able to drone up, able to saturate, he's in a decent position. Looking decent. I was a little bit concerned about lack of anti-air, but honestly, the Oracle is still in production. There is going to be a queen. Without a spore, it's going to be a difficult defense just because the queen count is very low. We only have 3 queens, sorry, 2 queens. The 3rd queen is on the way. With only singular queens in each base, the Oracle can wreak havoc. There we go. Spores are now being thrown down. They are on the way. And Erik, he should be able to maintain himself behind this, still droning, saturating. Once we get into a longer game stage, we'll be able to see how Erik wants to follow this up, whether it's Ling Hydra or Ling into Infestation Pits, or even Ling Roach. I feel like it was going to be Roaches, we would have seen a Roach one by now, so leaning more towards Lair Tech and Hydras. It does feel a little bit greedy here from Erik. We'll see when he's able to tech up. Typically, if the plan were to go into Ling Hydra, we'd already seen the Eva Chamber by now to get into early upgrades, but that's not the case here for Erik. Okay, the case. The Oracle does nice some mining. Yep, there it is. Roach one gets thrown down. Not a lair. Interesting. Going through the Roach one, taking gases behind this. Twilight Council follow up here at the MasTeR. I don't see a Forge, so there is a chance that this is going to be Glaive Adepts. We'll see Glaives or Blink. It's going to be Blink. So Stalker will zone away. Blink is in production. We throw down 2 more gateways, getting up to a 4-gate setup. Into early Blink and into a delayed Forge. Okay, I was curious. I was like, where's the Forge? What's going to go on here? But it is going to be a later Forge timing. So it's a little bit messy here getting into the upgrades, but Blink is going to be done early on, and this will help against a potential all-in. If Erik were to push early on and commit early on, Blink will be available to defend. But Erik just claiming a 4th base. Still droning, saturating, Eva Chambers on the way. In my mind, because this chamber is so late, this should be +1 range, not melee. It should be range going into a Roach Hydra-esque composition. But we'll see. Now we have our macro hatchery. Lair is on the way. Much later lair here from Erik. Oh, no, it is delayed +1 melee. Okay, interesting. I guess the Roach one was just for safety. This tells us that we don't actually plan on making any Roaches at all. So, +1 melee into... Are we just going into a delayed Hydra then? I guess? I do have issues with this build here from Erik. On the one hand, yes, he was able to kind of force an overreaction and drone up decently well, that is true, but the upgrades are going to be very late and delayed. This also means that the Lings are a little bit less effective for longer as well, and we are very Ling reliant. We'll see if we can get away with this as MasTeR is pushing. He is moving out, pushing towards the 4th base. Erik getting ready for a counterattack. He does have some Lings back at home to defend, and he should have enough Zerglings. Stage trap, ooh, does go off. Yeah, nice connection. Charge behind this going to be on the way. It's going to be on the way at the same time. Lings, they do hit the 3rd. Battery will buy some time for a warp in, and the warp in will complete in time. Despite that, 3 probes going to be going down. MasTeR, he races back home. A bit of a big overreaction. Yeah, races back home to defend. Lings, they catch out some of the Stalkers. Very nice catch here from Erik. And Erik, he is not droning. He's not droning behind this. Cutting works at 55. He's committing here with pure Ling Roach. He's trying to commit, but a little bit messy here. Roach speed is still just now beginning. Oh, we're getting messy. Collapsing on the Stalkers. Forcing Blinks. So far, these Oracles are putting in so much work. Yeah, the Oracles, they go to town. A lot of Lings are falling. +1 melee finally finishes up. And that is going to be the death of a lot of stalkers. Erik, he's bleeding out. He's bleeding off so much supply, but he's still rallying across the map. And the oracles are running out of energy. They're running out of energy, and Erik, he's done it. Erik, he has done it. It was a very messy build, very, very messy. Cutting workers at 55, only taking 4 gases as well, so a very low economy actually. But he has a lot to work with here. A lot of roaches, Ducklings. My assumption here is that we're just going for the all-in, but Erik, he gets a spire. Okay, throws down a spire behind this. Interesting. Does throw down the spire. Lings against up with the 4th base. Roaches, they should be pushing across the map as well. The Roach army is split. Yeah, the Roach army is split up. Erik trying to come in from behind, actually. Okay, he corners the army. Yeah, he corners MasTeR away from the batteries. These stalkers will go down. There's no saving them. Forced to recall instead. And with that, Erik, he overwhelms. He does overwhelm here. Breaks through the zealots, breaks through the stalkers. He does need more Ling reinforcements here as the stalkers are holding their own. There we go. Has to respect the oracles. And it is a little bit worrisome here just because Erik, he needs to find more damage, but he does finally get a couple more stalkers. 2 more stalkers going down. We have a muta switch here behind this from Erik. Erik, he's banking a lot of gas. He has excess gas to work with. Jesus. As Erik, he will barely overwhelm. Now, what's scary about this aggression that we were trying to allude to is that MasTeR has had a higher probe count the entire time. Like Erik has been fully all in, and Erik has been trading against the army, but he has not dealt economic damage. He's been denying the 4th base, that is true, but again, MasTeR, he still has a stronger economy behind this here, and the longer this goes on, the better it is from MasTeR. Erik was all in, and Erik failed to kill the 3rd. Failed to kill MasTeR. The mutas that have potential, and they're revealed. The mutas revealed early on. Ooh, GG as MasTeR taps out. I was curious if we were going to have enough stalkers to defend back at home, but no, MasTeR taps out upon the revelation, and GG gets called, and Erik takes game number 1. Oh, GG. With that, Erik, he does take a lead here. Once again, I don't know if MasTeR... I feel like MasTeR might have been able to play that out and try to defend, but we also know that MasTeR had a very hard time getting a 4th base up running. I also don't think he realizes just how few drones Erik had. Erik, he had a lower worker count than MasTeR that entire game. He was very committed, very aggressive. He didn't really have many minerals to work with either, so GG. GG, well played. Erik does take it, and we'll see where game 2 takes us. Let's go. Leading us into White Rabbit. But again, a very off-tempo style here out of Erik, for sure, with delayed upgrades, with early gas as well, delayed expansions. Crazy, that'd be crazy. But here we go. We're getting into game 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. There you go. Bottom left-hand corner here, White Rabbits. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the Blue Zerg leading the series 1-0. He's one of our own, representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Brazilian Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. Let us go. So we are delving into game number 2. This time Erik does get an earlier pull, a later gas, but he's going for a hatch block as well. He's going for the hatch block. Now, when it comes to Erik's style, when it comes to his builds, this is often to delay the economy and to disrupt, but he does mix in some committed all-ins as well, so bear that in mind. I mean, I guess very similar to, I mean, he's been doing this a lot longer than players like Shin and Solar and the other Zerg players in the current meta, where Erik has been very fond of going for just blocks just to delay, then drone it behind it, or to even commit across the map. We'll see which variation it's going to be. With the earlier pull timing, I mean, there's going to be earlier link production as well. As a couple of boys are being pulled off the mineral line. Zealot is on the way. MasTeR has yet to confirm, and he will now check the pull timing. So big scatter to MasTeR. He confirms the early pull. Behind this, we should be getting up our Sim City and getting a second gateway. As things are moving out. The pylon will delay the Zerglings. Oh, another way. How many drones do we have? Wait, what? I missed the other worker here, so this is very cheeky. 2 drones got in. One is going to be cancelled. The other is going to stay up and running, hidden inside the main. Okay. I missed that completely. When did the second drone come in? Did we move out with 2 drones in the beginning? No shot. What? Hold on. Hold on. Un momento, papi. No shot he stacked the workers, right? Did we pull a chase? No shot. I feel like we would have noticed that. As I mean, we find the hatchery, but it does have a lot of progression already. The hatchery does have progression. Behind this, we have a full wall off here with the help of the adepts, and Erik is droning. Erik is droning, is saturating. So I'm looking at the replay. As the hatchery does actually finish inside the main. Okay. Does finish. And with this, I mean, we're still just saturating our bases. There's not for an all-in. This is just to distract, just to delay. Keeping the Zealots busy. And yeah, it was a delayed second drone. Okay. It was just a much later drone got in, I suppose. It's crazy. Okay. Even makes overlords as well. I mean, sure, he's able to move out with them, able to get away. Bearing in mind that, again, this hatchery was killed, we didn't commit with it. It did force out another Zealot. It did force all these units to stay back at home a little bit longer, but these units will eventually break out. That's typically the moment where I'm the most concerned, when we move out with, yeah, with the Adepts and with the Zealots. So a massive move out. The Oracle as well. Back at home, but we have to defend. Spore production, spores are on the way. We have 1 queen in the main, 1 queen at the natural. We have a 3rd queen just now starting. Plenty of Zerglings on the ground. And so far, nice deflection. Okay. So far, so good. And MasTeR doesn't actually push. MasTeR, he stays at home with the Adepts. Interesting. I mean, Erik, he was forced to make all these Zerglings at least. True, Link Speed is just now finishing, and we are staying somewhat in gas. With this, the Oracle does hit the 3rd. Drones are saved. And the game will continue from here. Once again, we have a 4-gate follow-up. We have a Twilight Council on the way. Once again, I float the idea of maybe Glaive Adepts. Otherwise, we should just be seeing Blink just like last game. Go. And yep, there it is. It is going to be Glaives. So we did float the idea for Glaives, and it is going to be that, but we're still going for a Forge behind this. This tells us that MasTeR even himself doesn't believe this is going to do game-ending damage. Ideally, this cripples, but we're thinking further ahead here for Blink as a follower. Okay. In total, how many gateways? Again, just 4 gates. You can see here we're slowly massing up these Adepts, and this will be ideal against a Ling heavy style. Unfortunately, Erik did go for a safety Roach Horn, and just like last game, very late +1 melee, later Roach Horn as well into Ling Roach. There are safety Roaches on the way. Erik did not scout, but he's playing safe. And here comes the move out. MasTeR's coming across the map. Got spotted. We can see Erik trying to engage ahead of time. We'll throw away all of his Zerglings though. There's a single Zergling thrown away. We do have a Fool up here at the natural. Roach is in position. We'll at least buy some time. Adepts shade into the mineral line. Nice target firing. He gets 1, 2, 3, 4 drones. 3. Okay, only 3. Could have been worse. Once again, Adepts threaten the shade. Erik defends. Army breaks out. And so far, these Adepts have not been worth it. 3 drone kills is not worth all these Adepts, not yet. So we're still waiting for more damage. There's another rewall. Oracle's into the main base. Didn't quite get across the map. And not quite. Means they respond. And for me, we're just continuing. We're transitioning. We have a 4th base on the way. We spoke about Blink earlier. Blink +1, now getting into +2. MasTeR is making that switch into Blink Stalkers. I will still stand by these Adepts not really paying for themselves. They did delay any kind of aggression. They did buy some time. They killed 3 drones. They're forcing out of these roaches. But as you can see, Erik, he's not droning intentionally so. He drones up to 64. That is under 3 base saturation. And he's just massing up nothing but links and roaches. He's ready for his own aggression. That's what he's getting ready for. And so far as keeping up with the Stalkers. He's keeping up with the Adepts. 5 drones go down. Not bad. 5 drone kills. Adepts they move out. And Erik, he does want to collapse on this army. Denying the stasis traps. Denies 1. Ooh, the other connects. Yeah, the other connects. Ooh, baits out the final, one of the final stasis traps. There are so many behind this, but they all do get picked up. They'll get triggered. Adepts are moving in once again. Thankfully for Erik, there's no drones, right? There's not many workers here to protect. But can Erik break through? He's all in at this point. Erik is all in. Flanks the Stalkers. Catching out 1, 2, 3 Stalkers. His final drones are going down across the map. Once again, Erik bleeds out the Ducklings, trying to be active on the map. This is getting out of hand at this point. We're getting out of hand. We're hitting critical mass of Stalkers. MasTeR is pushing across the map, and Erik, he's stuck on Ling Roach, which can do well against Stalkers in higher numbers, but right now we have a comparable army size. Erik coming in from behind. Stasis trap. Ooh, does go off. Massive connection. Brutal stasis trap. Roaches are trying to stutter step in. They do catch a couple of Stalkers, that is true. Can he keep going? He's trying. Subsets further in. Getting 4, 5, 6 Stalkers. Not a bad amount. Erik does punish. These are expensive losses here for MasTeR, that is true. Expensive losses. And Erik, he now starts 2-2. Yeah, 2-2 begins. Burrows on the way. Infestation Pit and Hive. Oh, sorry, Infestation Pit and... a second pit. Second pit and Hive. Basically what we just saw here is Erik, he just really, like, he just clicked that he cannot kill, and he just went back home and started everything. He just started everything all at once, recognizing that the game is going to be longer, but it's a late realization out of Erik. So things are looking dire. Erik still just does not have enough. Zealot's collapse in, now charge is done, and now these roaches, they're vulnerable. The roaches are very vulnerable here against Chargelots. Or I should say against Chargelot Stalker. Zealots do a great job tanking, and then Stalkers, they come in to pick up. Pick up roaches. Now MasTeR has achieved a more well-rounded army. There's a lot of roaches trying to come in. Oof. But again, the Stalkers, they just have their way with the roaches. Denying the expansion, summoning out of control, blinking on forward. And again, Erik doing the best he can to hold on, to hold the line, but it's too much, baby. Mucho, baby, mucho. And you can see over time, MasTer's army is just getting larger and larger. MasTer is almost maxed out with purely Blink Stalkers, which is crazy, by the way. It's purely a gateway army. Erik is just being outscaled. Again, roaches do not scale well into a longer game. Like, they have a certain kind of like limit as to when and how they can be useful, especially in this matchup. Ravagers are in production. I'm sorry, yeah, Infestors are in production. That will help to try to lock down the army, but I feel like even if Fungals land, I don't know if that's really going to be enough. Because the first Fungal, I mean, we'll catch out a good chunk of Stalkers. Oh, yeah, we just keep moving in. Just keep moving in. 7 drones going down. Zealots, they do hit the mineral line. Erik being torn apart. Oof. And those are the final Fungals. The Infestors, they're out of energy. They got nothing left. Nada más back. As Erik tries to collapse in. Again, still plenty of Stalkers. Nice spin control here by MasTeR. We'll take another Fungal to the face. That's a lot of Infestors. I mean, the Fungals are landing. True. They're landing, but there are barely any Ravagers remaining. There's one Fungal left. Oh, dodges the Fungal. Jesus. Does dodge the Fungal. From here, oof, tanking piles. Army moves in. Does move in, and even though this is a little bit messy here for MasTeR, he still breaks through. He still breaks through the Ravagers. Every Ravager is going to go down. Infest is out of energy. GG gets called, and MasTeR does tie up the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, it was a bit of a messier game here from Erik. He was just stuck on Ling Roach, and the longer the game went on, the worse it was. Initially, he did a great job when it came to dealing with the Adepts, but the Adepts did survive. They found eventually damage across the map, and the Blink Stalker transition out of MasTeR was faster this time to get into faster upgrades, faster Blink. I say faster, I should say, compared to regular builds that open up with Glaive Adepts. So you actually saw a really fast Forge and upgrades on +1 and +2. That did lead to a greater Stalker follow-up, and GG. GG all played. In the end, MasTeR, he had a sword economy, had a sword army. Did break through. And with that, we're getting into the ace match. Getting the game 3, going to be loading into 10,000 feet. We'll see if Erik does mix things up here. Every time we see Erik and every time we cast him, I feel like we see something different. And these past couple of games, it has been this late economy into late +1 into Ling Roach all in. So far, that has been the go-to game 1 and game 2. Do we see it again here in game 3 or something different? Yes, we did see a little bit of variance here when it comes to like proxy hatches and hidden hatcheries inside of the main base, for example. That is true, so there was some deviation for sure, but the main core, the main foundation was still the same. But let's go. Let's go. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg for the CranKy Ducklings. He's one of our own, baby. It is Erik. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brazilian Protoss player, the blue Protoss Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. As we once again do go for the early gas and early pull. This is the same build we saw in game 1, if you recall. Okay, so the same build as game 1. With this, we can, or we will be going into a Link Flood most likely. Not for a Roach Rush or a Bane Bust, but we'll keep an eye on Erik as to our follower. Keep an eye on him. Likewise, MasTeR coming with a Rope Scout, confirming the late expansion, and will eventually confirm the gas and the pull timings. It says link speed, and again pulls out of gas. Pulls out of gas completely. Only link speed. And then link speed on the way. That tree is going to be taken. And from here, Erik is making an extra pair of Zerglings. Okay, this is more than last time. Last time, Erik only made 6. This time, we're getting up to 8. And are we going for the Flood? We are. Okay, we are. We're going for the Link Flood. Now, I will say that drones, yeah, there we go. Drones are being sent across the map. The goal here should be to mine through the mineral patch, but this is going to be delayed. It's going to be much later mining here from Erik. MasTeR, he has yet to check that location. There's a way in. Yeah, there is slowly going to be a way in. For those that are curious, with one drone, you can mine through the minerals, then mine gas. When you mine gas, you destroy the minerals in your hand, and then you can mine minerals again and destroy the gas in your hand and just go back and forth with one gas geyser. Destroying resources. Overlord confirms that there's no vision, there's no scouting. MasTeR, he's not checking. He's not checking, Pappy. Yes, the drone is moving in and does break through. Meanwhile, here comes a Link Flood. And there's no battery. Wow, there's no battery. One Adept is going to get surrounded. The other Adept as well. 2 surrounds. The Zealot also out of position as well. The boys are being pulled. Desperation here by MasTeR, and he will lose everything. The Adepts, the Zealots, and the Probes. And again, MasTeR just didn't check. He did not check. GG gets called. And Erik, with a cheeky build, pulls up the Link Flood, busts into the natural, and Erik will claim the series 2-1. GG. Ay. GG, well played. Again, I don't blame MasTeR necessarily for not scouting, because it was much later. Like, it was delayed mining at the wall, which is a little bit weird. Like the timings, the vibes are always a little bit off when you play against Erik whenever you're his opponent, just because everything's a little bit off. Everything's a little bit off timing and a little bit off meta. And with that, GG well played. Erik was able to open up the wall, able to go for the Link Flood, to go for the bust. MasTeR, he did not have the wherewithal to check just in case, to start to wall off and start to defend. I was caught this pants down. GG well played. And again, really good use of just the series itself, because if you remember, we saw this same build last time in game 1 against MasTeR. What did Erik do? Erik droned, right? Erik, he made 6 lings and then droned up back at home. Like, he did not commit with this. This time, same opener, but this time he committed. So it was on MasTeR to try to confirm that an all-in was coming or that the wall was opening, and wasn't able to confirm either. GG. GG, well played. With that, Erik, he will claim the series, will advance on to the next round, and Erik is going to advance on to the upper bracket finals to face off against his next opponent. It is going to be Erik versus Kamikaze. Okay, not someone we see too often at this level of, or this far in a tournament, but I believe Kamikaze did defeat Inexorable on the way here. True. Did defeat Inexorable, who we typically do dub as the best Terran in Brazil at the moment, but Kamikaze did bring him down. Here to bring him down. And now we can jump into our series, bearing in mind that this time it's going to be a best of 5 between Erik and Kamikaze, as Amantes is a 2-day event, so they do have typically a different format and longer series. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Title Citadel, we have the blue Terran player. We have the Brazilian Terran representing Eximius Gaming. It is Kamikaze. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. Let's go. Let us go. We are getting into our next game, into our first series, into a different matchup here at ZVT, and I do have to give credit where credit is due. Kamikaze has been improving a lot, in recent times. When I say recent times, I mean maybe the past 12 months. Like, past 12 months, Kamikaze has grown from more of like a mid-tier Brazilian player into one of the upper echelons of Brazilian players out there, where he does threaten Inexorable on a much more regular basis, of course. And even, I mean, of course, it all kicked off last year when Kamikaze defeated MasTeR in El Circuito Brasileiro, where he was able to bring down MasTeR and actually make it into the offline event. It was crazy. Like, like Kamikaze, he made it to the offline finals, and MasTeR didn't, by the way. Like, that was insane. He cheesed the hell out, of course. It was like a 10-minute series, 10-minute best of 5. It was insane, but he was able to pull it off. It was very impressive. And we'll see how it compares to Erik. Kamikaze himself is also not the most orthodox. He does enjoy playing mech. He does enjoy going for certain timing attacks, all-ins, 8-Raxes, things of that nature. For now, opening up 2-Rax Reaper, one of the more standard openers nowadays. So 2-Rax Reaper. Typically this leads into bio, but there are some niche situations and some niche builds where this does go into mech. Like, we have seen that before, for sure. So I don't want to rule that out. Not with Kamikaze getting involved. So now the Reaper does move out across the map. I see Enrique in the chat. Baby, oh. As Reaper does poke in. Dancing with the army behind this, Erik does go for a very fast Roach Warren, though. 2 gases being taken. It was a gases opener out of Erik. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted just introducing the players. But gases opener out of Erik, going for delayed gases, skipping link speed, straight into the Roach Warren, and it's going to be on Kamikaze to confirm. So far, Kamikaze, he's distracted by the 3rd base, which I don't blame him for, but he doesn't check the main, and the main base is where all the tech is. The all-in is coming, and Kamikaze is currently unaware. Oh, that goes in. Kamikaze does poke in. Zoned away by the Queen. Yeah, the Queen's zone does find his way into the natural mineral line, though, and drones are going to be going down. Gets 1, gets 2. Yeah, 1, 2 drones going down. Nice damage. Getting a 3rd drone towards the end. Can we get 4? Not quite. And again, this is really nice damage here, but Kamikaze fails to scout. He fails to scout. He does not see the gases. He does not see the Roach Horn. We have Roach production underway as we speak from Erik, and Roaches are revealed. Yeah, the roaches are revealed back at home. Does cancel the add-ons. The factory's on the way on the low ground. This means that if this natural base is broken, the production is also broken as well with the factory. We see Kamikaze throwing down 3 bunkers here in front of his wall. Oh god. Does throw down his bunkers. Now the problem here is that he did cancel his tech lab. So the way to defend against this with the 2x Reaper opener is you keep the tech lab on the racks to make 1 or 2 marauders, and then you can put marauders in the bunkers. But he canceled the add-ons instead, which he totally could have afforded. Bunker does finish, and behind this Erik is not all in. Thankfully for Kamikaze, Erik is not all in. Erik, he does drone up behind this instead, getting to link speed. He did not make extra roaches behind this. So this is a massive overreaction from Kamikaze. Thankfully, he can get a refund, a partial refund, but this was a strong reaction. Behind this, 3rd CC. Getting to a 3rd CC, into his own 3 CC 2-1-1. But again, the add-ons were cancelled. Like that's in line with what we mentioned before, the overreaction. Where Kamikaze cancelled all the add-ons, where he threw down all the bunkers, and this means that stim is going to be late. Very late stim. It should be almost done by now. I say stim, I feel like we probably would have gone Concussive Shell first into Marauder, but like the upgrades would be finishing up. And this does give Erik a lot of breathing room. So Erik is given a lot of time to drone, to saturate, layer is on the way. Erik is a CranKy, I think. He is back. He is aesthetic. So now we're going to lair. Once we get into lair, I'm not convinced that it might not be muta play. Like, we'll see if it's going to be Aspire into mutas, or if we double down on roaches. Eyes are on Erik. Infestation pits. So roaches into infestor, into potentially ultra tech if we get that far. Meanwhile, we get a very messy natural base with all the production down here. Stim is halfway done. Once again, as we try to emphasize, because Stim is so delayed, Kamikaze is stuck at home, right? He's stuck at home. You don't want to be active on the map without your upgrades, so we're waiting for Stim, 1-1, medevac production as well. Kamikaze is contained, and Erik is still freely droning. Freely saturating. From here, we can start to get a 4th base up and running. Melee upgrades on the way, not range. This tells us that Erik wants to transition out of pure Roach Ravager into Ling Bane, into, we're thinking, Ultras down the line. So here we go. But now safety investors. There's that Hive, as I mentioned, Hive Tech for Ultra Tech. This is very common in the current meta of ZVT. If you've been watching Shin, Solar, Rogue, even the European Rogue players have been embracing this as well. I mean, this style was popularized last year at DreamHack Dallas by Shin, but the build itself has changed over the past year. That is true. It has changed. We haven't seen players play around with going into banelings, with skipping or embracing infestors. But the core idea is still there, which is roaches into ultras. Or roaches to be defensive, to survive the early mid game, and then skyrocket ahead with Hive Tech, with Ultra Tech. Marines forced to be lifted. And here comes the fungal. No follow-up though. The spore. Yeah, the spore does catch 1 full medevac. Ay. Medevac goes down. The other does barely slip away. Hive is now complete, and there's that Ultra Cavern. Comes that Ultras. Files. Casito, baby, casito. Kamikaze is having fun. As the Medevac does get away. Does get away. We're building up our bio tank. And from here, Kamikaze is in a really rough position. Once again, what do we say? The soup does lie. Right now, Kamikaze, he has been building up into a 3-base economy with a 4th base on the way. That is true, but the big power spike is this. Like, this is the big advantage that Erik has, is getting away with the Hive and now Ultra Production and Ultra Tech. There's going to be a window in time where Erik has Ultras available before there are Ghosts, right? Before Ghost Production, before Limited Production, so it's going to be difficult for Kamikaze to deal with this. Likewise, worst case scenario is Kamikaze pushes as Ultras arrive, and Ultra Production has begun. Kamikaze rotating over to claim his 4th base. Yeah. Does rotate. We have our Safety Spire for anti-air. Microbial Shroud to help support the Ultras. And you can see Kamikaze turtling up. He's just fully rolling up here. We have 2 more factories on the way, so we are going for a mech transition. We're going to be done with Bio soon, as we have 3 factories, soon to be 4 factories up and running. It's a lot of factories. But the problem here, once again, is that it takes time to get into this mech transition. It does take time to pull this off. And does Kamikaze have that time? So setting up the Doom Drop. Amantes Carapace now just beginning. Ultras are on the way. And we have how many Ultras so far? We have 6, soon to be 8. 8 Ultralisks. Kindness Plating is done. We're just waiting for Ultra Speed. Ultra Speed is still on the way. Now, breaking into these positions could be difficult, but what do we have? We don't have Vipers, no Blinding Clouds, but we do have Microbial Shroud. So Microbial Shroud can be utilized here to help break through these siege lines. Likewise, Drop Lord play as well. The main base is exposed, is open. So the drop is coming. Now, despite Microbial Shroud being useful here, I mean, it is still a full wall, so still gonna take a bit to get through. Erik rotates to the right-hand side. Planetary is not yet done. Massive tank shots going off, and the Ultras, they do not break through. Yeah, the infested too far behind. Where are the Microbial Shrouds? Where are they? They're now being thrown down. Ultras are breaking through. Fungal lands, and he has done it. Yeah, Erik, he breaks through the defensive line and pushes up the ramp, pushing into the mineral line as well. And with that, the Ultras, they give chase. Lings is still... they're now being cleaned up in the main base. They did cause a distraction, though. Yeah, they caused a distraction. 12 SCV kills. 3rd base has been broken. Kamikaze knocked down to a 3-base economy. As we drop into the main... Oh, this is a bold move. No, don't go for it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 Drop Lords go down. A very messy play by Erik. Crazy. Ambitious play is a better way of putting it. Ambitious play, dropping into the main base. In the face of Bio battle. Calm down, Erik. Calm down. As Erik's still making use of just how open this store base now is. Flooding more Lings, more Ultralisks. And now you can see that supply disparity. Here the soup is not lying to you. It's like... As we have 2 more starports on the way. I believe this should be for Liberator production. Liberators will help, but at this point it's too little too late. It'll take too long for that to come online. Erik is already remaxed, and now he can push towards that 3rd for a 2nd time. I say that Erik actually rotated towards the southern half instead, but remember last time there were what, 5, 6 tanks sieged up? Now there is 0 tanks in position. Again, because Kamikaze has so little army to work with, he has to pick and choose. Where does he rotate? Where does he set up? He's setting up now at the 3rd location because this area is more open, and that means that the southern base is more exposed. As Ultras, they move in, they break down the planetary. 4th base is going to go down, and again, Kamikaze he's just being torn apart, right? He doesn't have enough supply to defend both locations at once. You have to pick and choose. Oh, this is going to be going down. Yeah, shutting down 3 Infestors. There's my critical shots. Oh no, we can chase. Yeah, now we can just give chase. We pull back to the tanks. The army's overstimmed. Ultras, they break on through. They collapse on top of the tanks. They're even coming in from behind as well. The Ultras, they're everywhere. Oh my god. Every tank goes down. That was how many? That was... Jesus. That was 15. 15 tanks falling. Technically 16. 16 tanks go down. And the tank count is down to 0. 0 tanks left. Again, the 4th is now open. The 3rd is now open. Night Storm into the main base. Erik not stopping. Do we have Fungal? We do. And Fungal lands. GG, well played. And Erik, he will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. With that, Erik does take a lead in the series. Again, in Kamikaze, he had just a very rough opener. When winding it back when it comes to the early game, Kamikaze, he did go for a big overreaction to the Roach Rush, if you recall. He cancelled all of his add-ons. He threw down a wall of bunkers. Honestly, I feel like if he hadn't canceled those add-ons, I mean, again, as we were trying to emphasize, it means earlier sim timing, earlier breakouts. We can start to have a back and forth, punish the Zerg player, and you'd even have Erik question how safe is it to drone up, how safe is it to tech up into Hive if there's a marauding army of Marines out on the map or bio out on the map as well. So then there's a little bit more tension on the map, and there's more against the idea of maybe being too greedy and droning. As we saw though, after the opener, Erik was left alone. Right after the opener, Kamikaze was just stuck at home turtling up, and Erik had the freedom to drone up heavily and to tech up heavily as well, which allowed him to get the infestation bit, the Hive tech, and the Ultras uncontested. And with that, GG, well played. With that, that leads us into game number 2. We'll see if Kamikaze can recover. We'll see if Erik can extend his lead as we load into Winter Madness. Let's go. Oh god. Let's go. Since the year when Erik beat Dark 2 weeks in a row. True, that did happen. That did happen. S to Erik. There we go. Here we go. We're getting into game 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness. We have the Brazilian Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Eximius Gaming. It is Kamikaze. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the red Zerg player. We have the Brazilian Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. He's one of our own. It is Erik. Let's go. Let us go. So have you been admiring Erik? I mean, again, Erik, he's an animal, but he's a hard animal. Yeah, Erik, he often, I mean, we spoke with this at the start of the series or the start of the broadcast, but Erik, he often does come up with his own builds, his own styles. He does often influence the meta as well. Like we've even seen from players like Cyril, for example, like taking builds and taking openers from Erik, where he often does kind of explore things a little bit earlier on. S to Erik. He's he puts in the work, where he figures out what works, what doesn't work either. I know he's been messing around with some other builds as of late as well. We saw some of that against MasTeR, of course. It's interesting to see that for a long time, for what years, Erik, he was mixing in like proxy hatches and hatch blocks, and now that has also hit the mainstream. If you watch players like Shin, Rogue, like Solar as well, like it is a lot more common now to hatch block and proxy hatch against Terran and Protoss. You saw that in GSL, saw that in RSL. But now though, Erik does once again go gasless. Now, as a reminder, we saw the same build last game. Gasless opener into roaches. This is a lot more common here. This is a way to be quite greedy, and we'll see if Kamikaze can get a faster scout, and we'll see how he reacts to it. Remember, last game it was a roach opener into just droning, into saturation. It wasn't an all-in, and Kamikaze overreacted. This time, the scary thing about Erik, we could just commit and go for the all-in, right? We could just double down and send roaches across the map. I'm sure a lot of it comes down to whether or not he gets scouted. This time it is the standard opener out of Kamikaze, not 2x Reaper, so just the 1 Reaper to scouts. Oh, going for a heavy bio follow-up though. That's a 2nd and 3rd racks. And do we go for a 4th racks as well? Do we just go for a 2 base 4 rack stim all in? That's what we're leaning towards. So a hyper aggression out of Kamikaze. Now, I'm a little bit concerned here for Kamikaze just because the build that he's going for here is weaker on Winter Madness. When it comes to the maps themselves, maps do influence, you know, strengths and weaknesses when it comes to builds, and they do help or hurt. Maps like Tourmaline, maps like 10,000 Feet, Ruby Rock, smaller maps do benefit this kind of style. Winter Madness is one of the larger, more defensive maps in the map pool. This means that Erik has more time to scout, more time to react, more time to delay, but also back at home we have a lot of positions here where you can take a better fight as well as a defending player. So this is going to be working against Kamikaze when it comes to the execution of the build itself, but we'll see if he goes unscouted. True, we'll see. For now, we do see gases being taken. Link speed is being researched though. That is not normal. So usually when you go gasless as an opener, you skip link speed entirely and you get into roaches. Roach Warren did finish. But did you notice, Erik, he does make 3 roaches, and he's intentionally showing his roaches across the map. He reveals his roaches here at the bunker, shows his hand here to Kamikaze, but it was only these 3 roaches, and then bam, a switch into droning and link speed. Now this time, Kamikaze, he already had a safety bunker, so there's no big overreaction like we saw previously. But like Erik, he wants to try to force a certain kind of style. Behind this, lair is on the way. Now, the question that I have here, is this going to be too greedy? Erik, he hasn't scouted, right? This is now a game where it's less so about what Erik is doing, but it's more so about what Kamikaze is doing. Kamikaze is playing unorthodox, and Erik has not scouted. He does have an overlord here on the right-hand side, and he might be waiting for the lair for an overseer scout, but that might be too late. Wait, what? Never mind. So in my mind it's like, okay, we're going for a heavy ranks opener into stim, into combat shields, and then we'll be pushing with starport, right, with a medevac. That's a 2nd factory. That's a 2nd factory and an armory. This is a 3-rack stim timing into mech. Which is going to slow down the mid game quite heavily. It means that the mid game is going to be full of Kamikaze. Instead of reinforcing his army, it's going to be full of him transitioning into tanks, into battle mech as well, into a different kind of upgrade set. This is a really awkward transition, and this is only worth it if Kamikaze does damage here. If he does damage across the map, if he fails to do damage here with this army that he built up, then he just falls behind, because it just gives his opponent so much breathing room once again. Like, because of this kind of mech transition that we're going for here, like it's gonna be awkward. Oh boy. Also, sorry, I just realized there's no 3rd CC either. Like, what do we... Oh, no. 2 base all in. 7 racks? We can't afford this. As in, when I say we can't afford, we could afford one or the other. Like we invested into double factory. We can't afford double factory production, as you can see, we're not doing anything here, plus all these racks as well on a 2-base economy. Okay. okay. Let him cook, Bappy. Let him cook. We'll see how this goes. okay. So it's a 2-base all in, but it's going to be very delayed as well, right? It's a very late 2-base all in that's coming in. I think an example of this, if we hadn't gone for the double factory production, and if we had just gone for the heavier marine or racks counts, like we could like get our marine count quite high and get our bio count quite like up and running quite quickly to like go for a bit of an earlier push, like at around 7 minutes. Okay, let's go. Kamikaze for now is distracting. Behind this, Erik, he did go into a safety amount of roaches, into lings, into infestation, into hive. This is greedy. This is a concern, right? Very, very fast hive tech into ultras. Meanwhile, infestors will help, but Kamikaze's all in. But at the same time, he's all in, but going for drop play, right? At least for the time being. He's still building up his main force. I'm just worried this hits too late. Like, it's just very awkward. It's very awkward. Kamikaze now starts to move out. His move out gets spotted. Erik here responds. And again, the longer this game goes on, the better it's going to be for Erik. The Ultra Cavern is finishing. It's finishing up. Erik so far keeping up with the drops. We're still waiting for the main move out. Three ultras are now on the way. Double jump into the main. Now we're going for So earlier, intentionally, there weren't any add-ons on these Raxes because we couldn't afford them, like to afford like anything else with the 2 base economy. Now we're going for add-ons, so it's a little bit messy. Here comes the all-in. There's a mass on siege. Drones do go down, and it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing for Kamikaze. But ultras have arrived. And in a couple of moments here, Kindness Plating is going to be done. Kindness Plating almost complete. Oh, Erik, got to be careful. Again, he threatens the dive. He does force yearly siege. The Lings are coming from behind. They attempt to catch reinforcements. They will. Val's catching out. Oof, just one tank, not quite worth it. And Kindness Plating is not done. Kindness Plating is done. This is just taking too long. It's taken too long to really get going. No, the mass on siege! The mass on siege, we collapse in. Fungal here on the main army. And we just chase him down. We can chase him down. The chain fungals. The medevac should survive this. No shot. Ooh, gets one medevac. Gets a second. The tank goes down. Another fungal lands. Ah. Yeah, unfortunate moments to just mass on siege as the final medevac falls. With that, we're collapsing in. Do we have a fungal? Not quite. Not yet. Jesus. That's a lot of marauders. That's a lot of marauders here. Fungal lands. No, it does land. Bringing down the army. Massive swipes for the ultras. The army is heavily overstimmed, very battered, very bruised. So another fungal lands. Oof. And again, these are still better trades for Erik. Erik massing up behind this. 5 more infestors. More ultras. This is a little bit cavalier from Erik. I didn't. Okay, never mind. This works. I still just forced the pickup. And behind this, we float over the main. The main base lifts. The main base lands. Kamikaze claiming his third. Trying to. No, the SCVs! Get out of here. The workers. We'll save a handful of them. 13 SCVs are saved. And Erik just moving in for the final blow. Getting the final set of tanks. Fungals land. GG gets called. And Erik takes game number 2. GG. GG, well played. And it was an interesting game here. I do like the idea that Kamikaze was going for. And when I say idea, I like the idea of going for a 2-base all-in against Erik, just because, as we were mentioning earlier, Erik wasn't scouting. Remember that. Erik, he did not scout the main base, and Erik was being greedy, taking up quite heavily as well, staying on a low roach count and getting into high very fast, getting into the ultras very fast as well. Like, this was greed from Erik. Lack of scouting, a fast tech. But specifically, this 2-base all-in that Kamikaze went for hits so late. Like, it takes a long time to really get going. I'll be honest, it felt kind of like Kamikaze was freestyling. it didn't seem too well refined, like by going for this fast double factory but not being able to afford double factory production, and then going into 7 Raxes, but then going into add-ons thereafter as well. Like it felt very, very messy there from Kamikaze. And again, like, I like the idea of going for a 2-base all-in against Erik. I do think that has a little potential. I do think there's a world where you can catch Erik with his pants down by being hyper aggressive in such a way, but the build itself, it felt a little bit undercooked, man. GG, well played. With that, Erik, he does claim a 2-0 lead, and now we're jumping to game number 3. Remember, this is a best of 5 matchup, not a best of 3, so we're going to be loading into Ruby Rock. Let's go. Let us go. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the Brazilian Terran player. We have the Brazilian Terran, we have the blue Terran representing Eximius Gaming. It is Kamikaze. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the red Zerg player. We have the Brazilian Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Erik. Let's go. Let us go. So now we're calming down, we're opening up. As Erik, he does go for his standard opener. He also does go for a standard opener, does go for a hatch first. I should bring this up just because we haven't, I mean, we'll see. Erik, he has been going for earlier pool timings and he's been going gasless every game so far. We'll see if that trend continues here early on from Erik as we load into a smaller map, a map that does actually favor more aggression. Meanwhile, Kamikaze has been mixing up his builds. Game 1, 2-Rax Reaper. Game 2, went for a 2-base all-in. Game 3, what do you have for us? Fun fact, I would also say, I mean, we mentioned it last game actually, if you remember, Winter Madness also didn't help, right? The map is larger, more time to react, more time to respond, and also more defensive positions. If we went for a 2-base all-in on Ruby Rock, on this map instead, it'd be even stronger for Kamikaze. It'd be easier to push across the map. But at this point in the series, I don't like the idea of all-inning 2 games in a row. That's the issue here, is that I would want to see a 2-base all-in from Kamikaze on Ruby Rock, but not after it failed, like not after we just kind of revealed our hand in the previous game. We'll see. Once again, we do go, oh, hatch gas, interesting. So we do technically go for a hatch gas pool opener this time, so not gasless, but we are going for a very fast 3rd hatchery. This will delay the 2nd queen. So you can see here the 2nd queen is going to be delayed in favor of a faster expand. Oh, meanwhile, that is a 2nd Rax. Okay. Go. As from here, Kamikaze, I say 2nd Rax is going for another Rax as well. So this is looking actually very similar to last game, going into initially a 3 Rax opener here, and last time we saw this, it led into double factory. So we'll see. We'll see if he does go for the same 2-base all-in. Back at home, lair first. Gases are being taken. Erik, are we going into Spire play? Are we going into Mutas? What's the plan? So what's the build that Cyril took from him? The 15 hatchery gasless. There's a couple of quote-unquote builds. I will say that there was a period in time, I don't know if you remember, like that, yes, but also there was a period in time where Erik, he was going for he was going for a crazy style against Terran. I think was it his 2-base swarm host build where Erik would open up with a queen drop and spread creep backwards from across the map. It'd be like a queen drop opener just to spread creep and then back off. I know that Cyril, he was trying that out himself, like in that era. So that was like 2 years ago. Like when Erik was doing that, like Cyril, he tried it out as well. I want to say it was at like maybe Home Story Cup. But it was a crazy build in ZBT where you would open up queen drop and then start spreading creep backwards. This was insane. God damn. But it is 2-base Muta, so we're rushing into Muta play. And this time, Kamikaze, can we punish? Can we punish Erik? The Marines, they move out across the map. This is a bit of a weird move out. It's an anti-timing. What I mean by that, Stim is not yet done. Stim is finishing up still a ways away. Marines are revealing themselves, and this is prompting a reaction out of Erik. Yeah, Lings are now amassing. Erik, he does spot all the Marines. He did scout the main this time. Okay. Did confirm, and it's same build, double factory. So it looks like this is intentional. So 3-rack Stim into double factory. Kamikaze races back home. Now, he did force out a massive wave of Zerglings. This could have been drones, right? This could have been workers. Did force out army out of Erik. Mutas are amassing. And how does this compare here? So Kamikaze, he did see the gas, he did see the lair, he didn't see the spire, but based on the early game scouting, he can assume, right? He can assume like a Nidus all in, he can assume 2-base Hydra, 2-base Muta. Here we have Marines waiting in the main base mirror line in both bases. So good read out of Kamikaze, that's going to be Muta play. And Erik is droning. Erik is droning, he's massing up mutas, he will gain map control. Okay, map control, going further in, scouting and confirming, and even the contamination, let's go. Contaminates the factory. What I will say about this variation here is that this time the Rax explosion is delayed from Kamikaze, which I think is a good thing, because he can actually afford like the factory production. If you remember, last time he threw down 4 Raxes at once. This time he's kind of getting to that point. Ooh. As he bleeds out 2 more mutas. A bit of miscontrol there by Erik. He does leave the army idle. Behind this Kamikaze, he is likewise still building up his forces as the army once again. As I mentioned before, this does look very similar to the previous game and the previous build. There are some differences. This time he's got a later Rax explosion, as we didn't mention, but I'm not too fond of this. He's still making tanks. So typically you do want to be reacting to what your opponent's doing, and going into a mass like Ling Muta style, ideally I would want to see a switch into Widow Mines, not tanks. Bio tank is not really ideal against Ling Muta. It has a stronger place against a more ground focused composition, like Roaches, like Ultras, like Hydras. I will say at least the mutas haven't really found too much damage. As the other mutas goes down, oof. Yeah, another muta falls. Behind this, Hive is on the way. Show us the Ultra Cavern. Now, is Erik able to take him into Ultras in time, or is Kamikaze going to be able to break through and get across the map earlier or before that? The push gets spotted. Erik is racing back home. Remember, Erik has no banelings. It's purely a Ling Hydra defense. This might just kill. This might just kill Erik. Kamikaze's coming. I mean, true, Fungals will help. That does make up for the lack of banelings. Lings, they come in for the backstab. They attempt to break down the front door. And eventually they should be able to. Mutas, they do pick off the Marines. Oh, losing another Mutalist though. Not worth it. Yeah, not worth it. Oh, Erik, he bleeds out too many Lings, and with that Kamikaze, he can overwhelm. He can send it. Yeah, Sibs off the ramp. There are Fungals. Fungals are landing, but do we have enough support for the Fungals though? These are good fungals. Jeez. Oh my god. They're very good fungals. Erik, he threw away every single Zergling he had. He defends purely with fungals. Okay, let's go. Erik, he survives with purely fungal growths. Ay. And here, do you know what? In the face of a 2-base all-in, Ultra Cavern. Oh god. It's so greedy. It's so greedy. Can he get away with it, Pappy? Can he get away with it? Mutas, they attempt to slow this down. Oh. Another Mutas fall. Again, these have been some expensive losses. I want to say it's 6. Yeah, 6 Mutas have fallen. 7. 7 Mutas have gone down. Mutas, they delay reinforcements. Kamikaze is pushing across the map. He's got 6 tanks with his main army. That's a lot of tanks. Okay, the door has been broken. Lings are flooding in. At the same time, do we have a fungal? Against tanks, fungals don't do much. Oh, mass on siege. 1 tank goes down to 5. 5 tanks left. Marines are moving in. Kamikaze, heavy supply block as he lost all the depots. He's losing all his depots. Not enough Marines back at home. Ultras are on the way. The third base is being broken. Erik losing 20 drones. Heavy losses for Erik. But the Ultras are coming. And we have fungals. And we have the on siege. Ooh, does land a fungal. Yeah, lands a fungal. Second fungal as well. The Ultra does get in. And takes down 1, 2 tanks. Oh my god. Barely 2. 3 tanks survive. Kamikaze still supply blocked, by the way. Oh no, the Mutas! Can he get a full medevac? Does he know? Gets an empty one. He gets a full one. Oh my god, 2 tanks go down. 1 tank survives. Ah! Oh my god. You can see Kamikaze, he had a 1000k bank as well. He just couldn't spend his money. 1k gas, to be fair. Tanks getting low. Micro Shroud is about to finish. How many infestors? 6. That's a lot of infestors here, but they're back at home. With 6 infestors with mass Micro Shroud, Erik, he can get on top of those tanks. Can't get on top of it. He's coming. Erik redroning, resaturating. Kamikaze still stuck at home. How many Raxes do we have here? We're up to 5? 7. Okay, 7. 7 Raxes. Catching out another 2 Mutas. Like, these are nice pickoffs. But ideally, Erik, he wants to lure the army out. He wants to lure the army out into the open, and then bam, mass fungal, mass microbial shroud. Wants to lure him out. Here he comes. Yeah, here comes the fungals. We're going for the dive. There's the first microbial shroud. Massive fungal with the Marines. Oh my god, catching everything. It all gets caught. Another fungal. The Marines go down, and GG, well played. Erik, he will overwhelm. He will break through, and Erik, he will take the series 3-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Hey. GG, well played. I feel like there were like maybe 2 different times in this game where Erik was dead. Where Erik, he was just dead, papi. Ay. GG, well played. Erik, he was being so greedy and defending with the bare minimum and losing a lot of units as well. Like, if you recall, there was a moment in this game where Erik, he lost Lings counterattacking, he bled out Mutas, and then he lost Lings back at home, accidentally like move commanding into the army, and it was the moment where he had only infestors to defend. Like, there was 6 tanks knocking down his front door with mass marine, and Erik, he landed 2 fungals, killed all the Marines, and then forced Kamikaze back. It was like, oh my god. like Erik had nothing. He had nothing. He had only fungals to defend, and he survived. He was able to survive. He got his hive up and running. He got his ultra cavern up and running. He got his ultras out, and with his ultras, even though he lost a full mineral line worth of workers, he was able to survive, partially because of the mutas. And I say the mutas, the backstab. He heavily supply blocked Kamikaze. Kamikaze lost what? He lost 6 depots with the high yield depot as well, right? With the core down supply on it, so he was heavily supply blocked, and Kamikaze couldn't reinforce, right? Because of that, his army wasn't getting any bigger, and ultras were on the way. So Erik, he barely held on there. It was very close, very clutch. GG. GG, well played. Erik, he does take the series. Oh, sorry, there we go. He does claim the series. He will advance on to the grand finals. Here we go. He'll advance on to the grand finals, where he does have his next opponent. He's going to have his next opponent. It is going to be a PvZ, actually. Okay, so a PvZ between Erik and MasTeR. MasTeR, he did fight his way back up from the lower half of the bracket after initially losing the initial best of 3 against Erik, and now we have a rematch here in the grand finals. Now, because MasTeR is coming from the lower brackets, it is going to be a 1-point advantage for Erik. So 1-point advantage here for Erik, coming into a best of 7. Oh boy. So best of 7 finals. Let's jump in. Jumping into our series. Here we go. As game 1 is going to be on Winter Madness. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the blue Zerg player. The blue Zerg player himself, the Brazilian Zerg. And what does he stand for? He stands for Endurance, Righteousness, Intellect, and Kangaroo. It is Erik. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player, the Brazilian Protoss, representing Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. Let's go. Let us go. We are getting into our final series of the broadcast, the grand finals, los grand finales, papi. We have our best of 7. Again, Erik does start 1-0 as he comes in from the upper bracket, and MasTeR coming in from the lower bracket instead, and we'll see how these two compare in that rematch. Now, in the previous series, Erik, he was going for a lot of cheeky builds. He was going for some hatch blocks, of course, a lot of hatch block play out of Erik. We also saw Erik go into his own, not just hatch blocks, but also he was able to go for an all-in on 10,000 feet, mining through the middle patch and going for a massive link flood. We did see a lot of early pull timings out of Erik as well. Here we'll see how we do adjust in a bigger and a longer best of 7. For now, hatch gas pool. Hatch gas pool, standard opener. We do have MasTeR coming in with a probe scout, and we'll confirm that everything's looking normal this time. Previously, it was just all early pool timings, early gas timings, proxy hatcheries. Here on Winter Madness, standard play. Standard play. I mean, standard opener, I should emphasize, as MasTeR should just be going for a Stargate opener into Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, Erik, we'll see what he's been indulging in as of late. So the thing with Erik is that I feel like he goes through phases. I feel like every patch, or basically every patch, every season, Erik, he does go in and he does kind of like adjust his style depending on what the meta entails. For a long time, Erik, he was going for macro hatcheries, for example, going for a fast macro hatchery and going to a stronger mid game into Ling Roach Muta play. It's very fun to Muta play in ZVP. But that was last year, right? That was 2025 Erik. 2026 Erik, we'll see. What do you have for us? We saw a lot of ultra play against Kamikaze earlier, but that's specifically for ZVT. Things they fan out. Stargate back in the main base for MasTeR. So far, everything's looking normal. Erik, oh, going for the low ground third. That is interesting. Bearing in mind, there was no pro block from my understanding here on the right hand side. So often this base is very, very difficult to defend, difficult to maintain. Often this base does signify aggression, right? Usually it means that Erik wants to be active, wants to be aggressive, wants to keep MasTeR on the back foot instead, and not worry about defending back at home. If this was for a longer macro game, I'd be concerned for Erik, but I'm imagining here more aggression. Erik, he does pull out a gas. Link speed is on the way, he does pull out a gas, only leaving one in that gas geyser, and we'll see what the mid game looks like. Erik, he was going for a lot of delayed Evo chambers and delayed +1 melee in the previous series against MasTeR. Here, we'll see. Because the map is so large, meter play is viable here on Winter Madness. So that's going to be in the back of my mind. Potential mutas. 16 lings on the way. That's a lot of lings on the way here for Erik. The plan here should be to force a cancel on the third base. That should be the goal. As soon as they poke in, Twilight Council's been thrown down, delayed Forge. Here come the rest of the Zerglings. There is going to be the Oracle back at him to defend. Yeah, the Oracle will defend. Erik does try to hit the natural instead. The Adept is under fire. The Oracle will zone this away. But hey, Erik kills a pylon. So nice pickoff. Second Oracle has arrived, and MasTeR, he stays at home. Oh, stays at home with one, moves out with the other. So Erik just trying to catch any transferring workers. Back at home, Roach Horn and Evo Chamber should be +1 melee based on what we've seen so far out of Erik. Into a Ling Roach heavy composition. Lings, they once again activate the Pulsar Beam. And it is +1 Blink Stalker. So standard follow-up here out of MasTeR. Into a heavy Blink composition. There's that delayed +1 melee out of Erik, which he has been going for. Nice catch of the road. Oh, not quite. Road does get away. And for now, we are just calming down. We're calming down. Erik mass expanding, getting a macro hatchery, getting his own 4th base. Oh. Starting back the Oracle, we have 18 more lings on the way. And we'll see if Erik can break that third. Again, it is going to be a lot of Zerglings. Now, this style that Erik's going for actually reminds me a little bit of Dark. I don't know if you remember this, but this was what, in like 2023? It was in the Ancient Cistern map pool. But Dark, it was very often going for Mass Ling, early upgrades in ZVP, and what this led into actually was fast Ultra Tech. To like keep the pressure up with Lings, delay the 4th expansion, apply pressure on the 3rd base, keep the Protoss player at home, and then eventually snowball out of control with Infestor Ultra. I don't know if that's the direction that we're heading in. We do have Roach Speed on the way, so probably not, but there's the infestation bits. It feels eerily similar. Yo, meanwhile, a big shout out to Cian in the chat. Papi guy, Cian, obrigado, papi, obrigado. Welcome, welcome. Bienvenidos. Hey, actually, in theme, we are casting Amantes. We are casting Amantes in StarCraft. Brazilian StarCraft. For the Brazilian raid. True, true. Yeah, things they do coming from behind. Stasis Trap is going to be going off. Oh, do we bait it? We do. It does get baited out. That's a lot of Lings going down already, and the Stasis Traps, they just continue. Oh my god, so many Stasis Traps. Yeah, so many traps. With that, Erik is in trouble. Stalkers, they do break through. They bust into the 3rd. Into the 4th, I should say, and they will get a kill. Yeah, massive pig off 4th base goes down. There's the recall back home. Does get 2-3 Stalkers in the retreat. But that was a rough loss for Erik. Was rough. Now he has to counterattack. Back at home, what do you have to defend? 1 battery. We have 1 battery. Cannon is on the way as well. A couple of zealots. We have okay. I was curious what the infestation was for. I thought it was going to be for Fast Hive, but no, it's going to be for Swarm Host. Okay. We got 5 Swarm Hosts on the way. Specifically on this map, the natural base is a little bit more exposed, so there's potential for damage. but this is really unorthodox. So Stormhost play is seen in this matchup, but it's typically only seen against Archon drop openers. If you open up Archon drop into charge, the reason why Stormhost can work well is because that means there's no Blink Stalkers, right? Without Blink Stalkers, it is much more difficult to keep up with Stormhost. Same with, and likewise, there wouldn't be any Oracles either. But against a Blink heavy start here, it is quite risky to go Stormhost. It is very, very risky. As MasTeR is posturing, Erik, he goes to the dive. He wants the Archon and he will get it. Oh, just barely. Did cost Erik a lot of wings. And we're actually going to use this almost defensively. Okay. Defensive Stormhost. I mean, against an Archon heavy composition as well, like, it's Locust Waves don't really do the most. Erik going for the counter attack. Locust Wave is coming in. As Erik will break through the side defense and recalls on cooldown. Locust Wave is cleaned up real fast, and MasTeR pushes forward. Yeah, he does break through the main army, pushing towards the natural. MasTeR, this army cannot be stopped, but at the same time, we're trying to go for the base trade. Yeah, we are trying. Erik turning back around. Nice Miles. Miles are connecting. But there's just so much Protoss here. And MasTeR chases down the Stormhost. Sends him away. We have a couple of roaches trickling in, coming back home. But it's not enough. There just aren't enough roaches. There just is not enough on the ground for Erik. Erik, he does kill some of the mineral line, but probes still survive. And again, this main army cannot be dealt with. Cannot be dealt with. Local saves, they do buffer. They do help somewhat. Roaches coming in from behind. Okay. Erik, does he have enough? Nah, there is Zealots. Yeah, there's Zealot reinforcements as well. And MasTeR, he is snowballing out of control. Again, the Stormhost ideally would have been used to be aggressive, but Erik was forced to be defensive. Right? He was forced to be stuck at home. MasTeR was just so active, so aggressive. And MasTeR, he has broken Erik. Snowballing out of control, breaks that natural, breaks that third, breaks that fourth. There's going to be one Locust Wave left. Uno más, baby, uno más. And one more wave of Locusts. Meanwhile, Zelta get into the main. They bust into the main base. Catch more workers, 6 more drones going down. And behind this, MasTeR freely mining on 4 bases. He's on a 4-base setup, getting into a 4-base economy. Thankfully, Erik does have a base here on the bottom left, so he does have an economy to sustain himself. But the reality is that he's just stuck on Ling Roach, and Ling Roach does not scale too well, not against this kind of army, as we build up more Archons, more Charge Lots, more Blink Stalkers, and even Storm has begun as well. Yeah, Storm is on the way. As Ari blinks in, punching the Stormhost. 2 Stormhosts already going to be going down. And he stands and fights. Oof. Breaks through the main army, catching out the final couple of roaches here. Chasing him down. The Stormhost as well. Da-da. GG gets called. GG gets called. MasTeR ties up the series 1-1. Whew. GG. MasTeR does tie the series up here. Again, it was a rough opener here, a rough mid-game for Erik specifically. Erik, he did invest into a massive amount of Zerglings, but it wasn't really worth it. He was able to apply some pressure, but the Oracles did amazing defending. Right? The Oracles were very, very efficient when it comes to keeping up with all those Zergling harassments. Likewise, we also saw the follow-up be very shaky as well. A lot of it did also come down to the stasis traps. If you recall, Erik, he was trying to hold on to his 4th base, but we saw, what, 3-4 stasis traps connect, and with all those stasis traps going off, Erik couldn't save his 4th. And once the first 4th base went down, that's when the ball started rolling, right? That's when Erik, his economy was stifled, his production was stifled as well. All stemmed from that initial engage, from initially losing his bases. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we are getting into game 2, going to be loading into Tourmaline. This time we go from one of the larger maps into one of the smaller maps instead. Let's go. Loading into Tourmaline. Now, I do favor Erik on these smaller maps. These larger maps, it is easier for the Protoss to defend, easier for MasTeR to defend, to build up, and to get past the more aggressive nature of Erik. Here, this is where it's going to be a little bit harder. As spawning in the bottom hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Brazilian Protoss, with the red Protoss, tying up the series 1-1 for Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings being forced into that series. It is Erik. Let's go. Posture check in the chats. No slouching. No slouching, Pappy, no slouching. As we're getting into Tourmaline, and I feel like this is where Erik should now be unrestricted. Now he should be unbound, as Erik, he does embrace a much smaller map of the map pool, where he can be a little bit more dynamic. Again, last game we saw relatively standard opener out of Erik into Ling aggression, that's true, but the Ling aggression wasn't really worth it. This time, hatch gas pool, standard opener, no drone out on the map. True, no drone. Your Esther Blaker dudes, God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing, for resubscribing even for 33 months, Pappy. That's crazy. Almost 3 years. Almost 3 years of support. Thank you, Pappy. Thank you. Do appreciate it, Blaker dudes. Do appreciate it. Gracias, gracias. Hope you continue to enjoy the content, the casting, the StarCraft. Hope you enjoy. Gracias. Thank you. Esther Blaker dudes. As for now, we are still going to be building up. I just hatch gas pool, standard opener so far out of Erik, and we'll see where that takes us. So welcome to Tourmaline. Tourmaline is a smaller map of the map pool. It is very open in the center, very short rush distance, very direct rush distance as well. There's no points of elevation, there's no choke points here in the center either. You do have some tall grass. That's like the one thing that you can utilize defensively in your favor. Outside of that, attacks are very direct. Likewise, third bases are very open as well. Very open third bases, very open fourth bases. So we'll see how aggressive Erik plans on being. As so far, he does pull out of gas. Pulls out of gas, gets into Ling speed. Likewise, we do have the Stargate open out of MasTeR, going for the Stargate as a part of the wall. So MasTeR being a little bit greedier here. The Overlord does, of course, confirm the Stargate. So Erik is aware. Erik is aware. We're going to have a handful of Lings on the way here just for map control, just in night vision, and then we join. And we join up. I see Ravaniadas in the chats. Wow, so now we have some sponsored players from the CranKy Ducklings competing in pro tournaments. The opposites, I should say. So we had a lineup of pro players back in the day. For those that are maybe a little bit newer to the channel, we actually competed in World Team League. The CranKy Ducklings, this was back during the COVID era of StarCraft. Around, when did we first sign our players? 2021, maybe 2021, 2022ish era of StarCraft. We initially signed our Australian pro roster. We had Oreo, we had Starduck, of course. Then we signed our Latin American players, which was Ryu, Neo, and Erik as our 3 Latin American players. And eventually we also signed some Americas players as well, from the Americas, from the US of A, which was Dolan, Vindicta, and Patty Mac as well. So we actually had a pretty large roster. I don't mind being transparent about this. The reason why we could afford that, by the way, as we did salary all of our players, was at the time we were the official B stream for like all the Dream Hacks and the ESL Pro Tour. Like we were doing a lot of B stream content. And of course, we're being contracted by ESL for that. And basically, all that money we just put into paying players, basically, to have a pro roster. Obviously, nowadays, many years later, EPT is no longer a thing, right? There is no ESL Pro Tour. So as a result, you know, over time, like we had to let our players go and hopefully find like better places and better teams and more support as well. Dolan, he eventually found his way onto Detonate, for example. Patty went to China to study. He was and he streams every now and then. Miguelito Vindicta, he likewise went over to the Platinum Heroes. Oh, so we did catch out the first Oracle, but Vindicta, he went to the Platinum Heroes, where he did have a bigger salary, and before eventually again like pseudo retiring and now just being mainly a streamer. Neo, he finished the bar, baby. He became a lawyer. Neo, and he graduated and he got his degree last year, I want to say. Neo. Ryu nowadays doesn't compete anymore. Now he just mainly streams. And Erik, he's like our only active player right now. Erik. Oreo, he's lost, you know, in the rifts. Like he's Oreo. Tells me he still plays, but he just doesn't compete anymore. Oreo. And Starduck, he's just all up in Kerrigan survival nowadays as well. But many years ago, like we had like an active roster. We were competing in team leagues and playing in a bunch of tournaments. Nowadays, Erik, he's our last boy actively competing. Erik. Got a lot of love for him, of course. A lot of love for Erik. But yeah, basically back in the day, we could afford like a proper like active roster. Back when we were the B streams. Meanwhile, we are moving out. We had a relatively standard opening here, building up our Ling Roach Ravager. Ling's to do counterattack across the map. MasTeR, he is committing here on 3 bases, by the way. He's got 9 gateways behind this. Meanwhile, this time the station traps are going to be picked up. Nice and aisle. Yeah, this time we have Vials, we have Ravagers. Denies the stasis, pushes further out. But again, MasTeR is committed. 9 gateways. 9 gateways behind this. MasTeR is very committed here. No forge, no +1. It's a 9 gate all in. So MasTer's all, oh wow, that got Dark, is that you? Biles down the oracles. That should not have happened. Ay. Does bile the oracles down, and with that, remember, the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Erik. MasTeR is all in. No forge, no upgrades, no tech, no storm, no colossus, no splash damage. You can see fake gases at the 3rd, so no extra gas income, no 4th expansion. Like, this is straight up an all in out of MasTeR, and the all in is failing. So fun fact, it was actually MasTeR trying to all in on Tourmaline. I mean, we expected aggression from someone. I expected it from Erik, but Erik, he's successfully defending. Erik was able to get to 3 base saturation, just under 3 base saturation, building up in a mass Ling Ravager. And MasTeR, now he throws, oh, the Prism goes out as well to the Queens. Now we get a Temple Archives. Now we have Storm on the horizon, but it's so late. It's so delayed. Again, MasTeR was trying to kill, was trying to end the game earlier, and now Erik snowballs out of control. Oh no! Gets into the natural. Sentry goes down. Yeah, Sentry falls. We get some decent force fields, but the Biles, they do deal with them. They break them down. Things they do break through. Yeah, they break through into the natural. So we catch up more sentries. GG gets called. Yeah, MasTeR just cannot engage. He is overwhelmed. And Erik, he will take a 2-1 lead in the series. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, winding it back, sorry, we were a little bit engrossed in going over some of our history when it comes to the CranKy Ducklings, but again, GG, well played. MasTeR, he went for a 3-base 9-gate all-in with limited gases and a Warp Prism as well, but as we saw, the Sage Trap went down, the Oracles were deflected. Erik, he did cut workers early. If Erik had drone up further, remember, Erik, he cut workers like at 54, under 60, like under 60 workers. Erik, he cut it early, so he had an abundance of units to work with instead, and he was ready for said all-in. And once the Prism went down, once the first push was deflected, it was looking worse and worse there for MasTeR. It didn't help as well that Erik did pull off a Ling counterattack, crippling the economy and weakening the all-in. GG. GG, well played. With that, Erik, he does take a 2-1 lead, and now we're getting into our next game. Going to be loading into game number 2. Sorry, game number 3. Let's go. So again, there's actually Erik being the defender, but staying on a lower worker count to pull that off. As we get into game number 4, we're going to be loading into Ruby Rock. And we'll see if MasTeR is tempted to be aggressive again and to go for another all-in. Or is it Erik's turn, Bappy? True. Is it his turn? As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings, going for a 12 pool. He's not joining. He's going for the 12 pool. It is Erik. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss himself, the Brazilian Protoss, representing Team Hellfire down in the series. It is MasTeR. Go. Let us go. As behind this again, we do open up with the early 12 pool. MasTeR going for a standard opener himself, and we'll see how hard Erik commits here. 12 pools do not have to be all in, by the way. This can lead into like a Ling Flood drone pool. You can see like the most extreme version, or it could be 12 pool for early Ling aggression into an expand behind this. Erik does move out with the drone, so he is going for a proxy hatchery, and we'll see if he goes for the block or if he does go for something more committed. As for now, he's rallied towards the wall. And with this rally, I believe he should be looking to disrupt the wall off here to make it easier to engage here with the production, with the buildings, with the Sim City. Lings are coming. MasTeR has not gone into the main base yet. He does not know. Hatchery is thrown down, and with that, the wall is disrupted. So it's going to be a messier wall here from MasTeR. Lings are flooding across the map. Some of the boys are being pulled. Chrono boost here on the Zealots, and we're gonna try to deny this hatchery here. Again, we have this. We have the cyber core here on the right hand side. We can still try to fully wall here with a second gateway and with another couple of buildings. We'll see. We shall see. As Erik is expanding, is going to be delayed. Erik, he did want to expand behind this. First Zealot. Oh, does barely survive. Nice support with the probes. Hatchery's getting low. Hatchery getting very, very low. One Zergling goes down. There's soon to be a second Zealot. Gets a probe. Gets one. And he has to respect this. He has to respect those Zealots. Once again, has to pull away. Erik is still Ling flooding. He's not done. He's not done. Oh. Yeah, Zings, they do go in for this round, and they might catch one Zealot, but now there's going to be an Adept as well. Yeah, is it too much? Yeah, is it too much? In the end, it looks like one Zealot will fall. Just one. There's still one Zealot remaining. Queen is on the way. Hatchery down less than half HP. Erik is off so much already, but he is gaining a foothold. He's gaining a foothold. He does get on the final Zealots. Ooh, the battery is not yet done. Hold damage on the Adept. Oh my god. Yeah, does do whole damage. That does get very, very low. And oh my god, will not go down. The battery does finish up just in time. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, the battery is done. A Queen does pop out. Does go for the injection. Lings, they trade against the probes. They do, the battery's out of energy. Uh-oh. Yeah, the battery is out. Queen is low. And MasTeR holds. MasTeR so far, he is holding. The Queen barely gets away. One shot away from going down. No, the Queen. Oh my god. Get out of here. Yeah, the Queen should fall. Oh my god, just barely. We still have 3 Adepts left over. But that was a lot of probes going down. And fun fact, Erik is still making Lings. He's still making Zerglings. Yeah, more Lings flooding across the map. Still no gases. Erik is still committed. There's soon to be 4 Adepts though. Oh. Attempts to surround. Yeah, locks down 1 Adept. Does try to, but there's so many Adepts to defend. There's too much DPS. Yeah, there's too much DPS. Lings, they're just going down one after the other. Erik cannot break through, not with this many Adepts. There's too many. And now he starts droning. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Erik, now he's droning up. Late drones, late saturation. Stargate is complete. Void Ray is on the way. That's the killing blow here. The fact that there is a Stargate. And all these depths as well, true. MasTeR going for the counterattack. Erik is supply blocked. There's one queen at home to defend. There's one queen. There was potential to kind of break this position for sure, but there were a couple of moments where the Zealot barely survived, where the Adept barely survived as well. Void Ray is at home. Adept say move out. And I feel like Erik shouldn't be able to deal with this. There are just too many. Does snipe one Adept finally. Does get that one. But there are too many. As things they collapse in, they will get one more death. What a mass backy. Might even get two. Not quite. Yeah, not quite. As Erik, he's denied mining here at the natural. Forced into the main base. Link speed is on the way. MasTeR recovering back at home. Does he have an Oracle? No. No Oracle yet. Just now starting. Adaptation into the main base. They should go down here. Yeah, drones, they're being pulled in. Link speed is almost done. With link speed kicking in here, Erik does have a bit of a power spike, but there's a full wall. There's a full wall back at home. There is still no warp gate. That's really slowing down MasTeR. No warp gate. But the Void Ray moves in. There's only one queen to defend. The one Void Ray. No. So there's two queens, my apologies. Two queens back at home. There's a lot of hull damage. Lings, they encounter a full wall. And no shot we macro out of this, right? I mean, no shot. We might. The Oracle is going to be zoned away. Behind this, we have our Twilight Council. Twilight Council most likely into Blink or even into Glaive Adepts. That would be ideal here, to be fair. To go into Glaives. And this wall should not be broken. Right, the wall is solid. Wings are found. There's a world where Erik, if he's left alone, he could try to recover and drone back up, but the reality is that this should be Glaives, right? It should be a hyper-aggressive follow-up here from MasTeR to just punish Erik. That should be the plan. Yep, Glaives are on the way. Have our Glaives. And there's just not really much of it. I mean, there shouldn't really be much of a chance for Erik to recover. There's a world where if MasTeR makes mistakes, if he slips up, if he has some miscontrol, of course, but you never want to be in a position where you're relying on your opponent to mess up. Especially with this many Adepts. Oh boy. As we shade across. Yeah, shades across the map. Now, there are some roaches in production. We can see Erik fully walling off, but Erik doesn't really have the economy to sustain proper roach production here. He's got 3 roaches on the way. Adepts, they hit the third. Third base will go down. Honestly, we could just dive on the queens. As I said, MasTeR just settles for the expansion. Brings down the third base. And the third, pushing further out. Getting us over the roaches. Oh no, he shades in. Yeah, he shades in as well. Breaks through the wall. And he splits. Yeah, shading only into the main. Catching another queen. Pulling Erik apart. So far, no economic damage, but drones should soon be going down. Shading back out. And sure, Erik, he retains his workers, doesn't lose any drones, but MasTeR, he's up by 20. He's up 20 workers here. 63 probes back at home. Ay. We have Erik going for an all-in, going for drop lures. Nunes has carapaces on the way. I mean, it's the only way, it's the only chance here for Erik. Does have a decent roach count, but there is that Blink Stalker transition. If it was only Adepts, then maybe, but MasTeR's getting ready here with a mass amount of Blink Stalkers. He has a second army. Strap-ons out. Adepts are falling. Double Oracle into the main. Just checking to make sure there's no hidden tech, there's no like spire behind this or anything like that. And again, MasTeR is more than ready. Oh god. There are how many? There are 23 stalkers back. That's crazy. 23. GG gets called, and MasTeR ties up the series 2-2. We have a back and forth. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We do have a back and forth here. Again, MasTeR does tie things up. But winding it back, we had Erik going for a 12 pool Link Flood all in as well. There are variations where you can drone up behind it, but no, Erik, he doubled down. He committed into the 12 pool, and we saw that he was gaining some momentum, but not enough. We saw that it took too long to break through the Zealots, took too long to break through the Adepts as well. There were a couple of key moments where we saw MasTeR barely slip away, avoid the surround, and keep these units alive for a little bit longer, and every little bit did count. Did mean that many more Lings being thrown away, and that much more inefficiency out of Erik. GG. GG, well played. With that, MasTeR does tie things up, and now we're getting to game number 5. Going to be loading into White Rabbit, now getting into one of the larger maps of the map pool. Okay. Getting into a larger map. And I can't imagine we'll be going for a 12 pool here on forward. There's a chance to maybe 12 pool on a map like 10,000 feet. But outside of that, we should be going for some more standard openers at least. This morning in the top right hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the Brazilian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. Oh. Representing Team Hellfire, it is MasTeR. Tying up the series. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings, being forced into a tied series. Can he bring it back? Can he take a lead? It is Erik. Here we go. We do have a series. True. We have a series back. So just setting up. From here, we do have Erik once again going early gas. Okay, we've seen this now. This is the third time this series. I say this series, this broadcast. We did see this earlier in the broadcast in the initial meeting. Early gas into early link speed into a later expansion. Now, yes, on the one hand, we're going to really fast link speed and we're going for the early link aggression, but I believe that typically Erik, he does drone behind this. He will expand, he will drone, but we'll keep an eye on Erik regardless if he does pivot away from this. But now, the probe, yep, there we go, there's the expansion. Probe does confirm. Is where this is not a 12 pool. So Erik, he does move out across the map. MasTeR back at home does not go for the early zealots, but we should be chronoing out the first adepts, defending back at home. We'll see what Erik can get done. Yeah, as long as they break in, they pull away, and behind this, we're just droning. As I mentioned, so early gas, early link speed. From here, we're just droning up. We're pulling out of gas, so we're getting into our natural and double expanding to make up for it, to build up in towards the mid game. This is kind of Erik's go-to opener here in ZVP, at least from what we've seen this tournament. As we have seen this often lead into just 3-base saturation into Ling Roach. Meanwhile, Stargate as a part of the wall. Overlord does get eyes on the next pylon. Does get eyes. As from here, MasTeR he'll claim his third. Just playing standard Oracle opener into his third base into early game map control. Really, we're just kind of looking for any kind of big deviations so far. So far, we're just droning, saturating, defending back at home as well, building up into what should be a Ling Roach. If we see an earlier lair, for example, then we'll take note of that. Earlier gas income, or even from the side of MasTeR, if we see, say, a late forge, early Twilight Council, that can be indicative of something a little bit different. Ah, as that is going to be a lair first. Okay. Also 4:10-ish lair timing. Interesting. So early lair. With an early lair like this could be for me to play. I know that there's a Roach one on the way, so we can go a couple different ways here. We can go into Roaches, into fast Roach speed, into Roach aggression, into potentially even a Roach all-in, or we could have a Roach one just for safety and go for something else. Ah, okay, it is an all-in. Overlord speed is on the way. We're going for a 3-base all-in German taxi. Again, at this level of play, you would never get Pneumatized Carapace unless you plan on morphing in Dropper Lords. You'd never get it just for scouting, for example. As MasTeR does threaten the shade. Doesn't commit. Roaches are building up. Erik cutting workers, you're at 46. That's a very low drone count, actually. That's what, 2-base saturation, essentially? Very, very low drone count. Queens are loading into the Dropper Lords. The taxi's coming. Roaches are amassing. Now, when it comes to MasTER's setup, MasTER so far, he hasn't scouted this all in. He's not aware of what's going on. MasTER is getting into +1 and blink. Standard follow-up here out of MasTER. And no batteries. You can see here, no shield battery at the natural, no shield battery at the third base. MasTER has not pieced it together. He now sees no drones, though. This should be a tell. This should be a tell here. As the Depsate busts into the mineral line. Back at home, batteries now being... Now he's aware, but is it too late? Here comes the all-in. He's throwing down batteries at the third. Nothing at the natural. And Depsate run into reinforcements. And that Stargate is exposed. True. Exposed Stargate. The Oracle takes a lot of hits. Oh, a little bit of miscontrol here as the first Queen does overextend. Oh, and one Queen. Oh my, the pickup. Very clutch moves out of Erik, but the Queen is still low. The Queen is still low. Yeah, it does hide behind the Roach Ravager. Do need to be careful. There's a transfuse. Lings, they almost collapse on the Stalker, but Blink is done. Nice time with the Cybercore. Cybercore goes down. What you see is what you get when it comes to Blink Stalkers. Batteries do finish in time. Oh, going for the batteries themselves. Vials do connect. But there are none of Zerglings. Yeah, none of Zerglings. They cannot quite break through. Bars are good, but not quite enough. Yeah, not quite. As we do lock down the Zealots at least, but again, we're spending a lot of Zerglings here. And without Zerglings, we cannot break through the Stalkers. So many Zerglings going down. The Natural's opening up a little bit more, but again, without Lings, yeah, the Stalkers, they get on top of the Ravagers. Ravager's going to be going down, and MasTeR, he's holding. Ooh, MasTeR, he's holding on here. Again, it was a late scout, late reaction by MasTeR, but he will clean everything up, breaking through all the Queens, breaking through all the Ravagers as well. The all-in is failing. Behind this, we have +1 melee on the way. We have roach speed on the way. Erik is trying to transition out of this, but he has no drones. He has no drones. He has no saturation, and with that, Erik, he will lose everything. He's down to 1 Ravager. And there was potential. MasTeR, of course, did scout there. And again, it takes seconds, and in those precious seconds, did react in time. Got his batteries up and running, built up his Stalker count as well. Oh. Erik trying to come in for this round, gets shut down by the Stasis Trap. And MasTeR takes another final Ravager. GG. GG gets called. MasTeR, he takes a lead in the series 3-2. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, initially I was on board with the all-in here from Erik as he was hiding it quite well, but eventually MasTeR realized what was going on. He did realize it, did piece it together. With that, MasTeR was able to get 2 batteries at the third base, 2 batteries at the natural as well, and with that, he was not losing a single Stalker. Like the Stalkers, they were able to be retained over time. Hyper efficiency there out of MasTeR with those Blink Stalkers, and Erik just did not have enough to break through. Not quite enough there. GG. Did snipe the Cybercore, which was nice, but maybe it took a little bit too long for that to happen. There was still plenty of Stalkers to work with there. Some of the production was exposed as well, but the Stargate was a non-factor. It was just all about those Blink Stalkers. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're now going to be loading into game number 6. Oh, let's go. Yeah, we're loading into game 6 here, going to be loading into the Old Republic. Again, MasTeR, he does take a lead in the... Oh, there we go, sorry. Just fixing up the score. MasTeR does take a 3-2 lead in the series, and we'll see if Erik can force the ace match. Oh boy. As we are loading into one of the final games of the series. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the blue Zerg player. The blue Zerg player representing the CranKy Ducklings, being forced, or that now falling behind in the series. Can he recover? Can he bounce back? Can he force that ace match? It is Erik. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself, representing Team Hellfire, leading the series 3-2, 1 game away from claiming this best of 7. It is MasTeR. Let's go. Let us go. As we are going to be opening up. And this time, hatch first out of Erik. Okay, remember last game was gas first. This time, hatch first. Welcome to the Old Republic. This is a larger map of the map pool. Aggression is favored on this map, typically though in the mid-game. I'm referring to defending the 3rd and defending the 4th base. That is where the game can get very spicy, but that's off of like a 3 and 4 base economy, not so much in the early game. So we should be expecting something a little bit more tame initially coming into layer tech. So we'll see how Erik will approach this. We shall see. But yeah, touching on our pro team, like there was a time where there were a couple of players that we almost signed as well. Like there's a couple of players that come to mind. Arch, the Polish Arch, for example. I know that he wanted to join the team. Trigger's another one that we reached out to potentially become a CranKy Duckling. This was before he joined Basilisk, of course. This was back when he was still an up-and-coming player. But Trigger's a big one. Eba's another one as well. CranKy Duckling adjacent. Davito, true. Does anyone else come to mind over the years? Those are the only that come to mind initially. I know that we flirted with the idea of getting Chamon, El Chamaco. I remember we didn't want too many Zergs, like because we had a lot when it comes to Latin American players. We had Erik and Ryu. Like we already had Erik, we already had Ryu. So I wanted to diversify a little bit. I remember. I'm trying to reach into the recesses of my mind. Trying to reach in. Oh. Let's go. For now, though, we're just going to be calming down, getting to our own hatch gas pool, link speed on the way, as well. Pulling out of gas, droning, saturating. So far, just a tame opener here. Everything's, I mean, when I say tame opener, I should also emphasize this is maybe the most standard opener that we've seen so far out of Erik this series. Just hatch gas pool into a third, like nothing fancy, nothing too wild here. We're calming down, Pat. We're calming down. Smasher's claim is third. Once again, just Stargate opener into a third base. It's hard to be aggressive here once the Oracle comes out. Like the third base should be safe. Second Oracle's on the way. And that is an earlier Twilight Council. Okay. This is earlier than normal. Because of that. Okay. So Twilight Council to Forge. This might be for fast charge, or we might just go blink again. And the purpose of the early Twilight Council would just be in case it was like an all-in coming. In case it was like a 3-base all-in, then blink would factor in defensively. Nice run, MasTeR. Going to be a 420 Roach Horn timing. Standard Roach Horn timing here, just being safe. Evo Chamber into most likely +1 melee. And melee's on the way. And it is going to be blink. Now, how many gateways? We have a bit of a gateway explosion here, getting up to 4 gates so far. We have already seen previously in this game, in this series on Tourmaline, we have seen MasTeR go for a 9-gate 3-base all-in. With the Robo and with the Warp Prism. So we'll keep an eye on the gateways. As MasTeR is being active. Everything looking normal so far. So far MasTeR just poking in. Erickson pulls away. 2 more gates get thrown down. We're getting up to 6 gateways. This is standard. Like 6 gateways is kind of what we expect. Any more than 6, and that's something to take note of. Yeah, gases are being taken. This is a sign here of further tech. This is a sign of either Storm or Colossus. Based on the fact that there's no Robo, we're leaning towards the Templar Archives and Storm. As things like collapse in. They clean up the Adepts. Erik claiming a center expansion, getting into Ling Roach. And it is going to be that Storm. So again, like this is, it goes both ways here. I was going to say earlier, of course, that like this is the most standard game that we've seen out of Erik. This is the most standard game we've seen out of MasTeR as well. Like this just 6k blink into Storm, off of a Stargate opener. Oh, this one Oracle does get called out. From here into Charge, into Storm, into Archons, the High Templar. We do have the Infestation Bit on the way here from Erik, and we have already seen Erik attempt to go Swarm Host previously, and it did not work out well for Erik, but that's because MasTeR was being aggressive. If you remember, that was on Winter, I think it was on Winter Madness. Yeah, on Winter Madness. With MasTeR being a little bit more passive and being more macro oriented, then Swarm Host might have a place here. Like they might be more useful. Hello. That's Overlord speed. Erik, he's cutting workers early here. Erik, he's getting a 6th expansion, but he has not joined up his 4th. Sorry, he's getting a 5th base, but he's not joining up his 4th. He's cutting workers early. He's cutting workers at 3 base saturation. This is a 3 base all in. Oh, or is it? So we were bringing up swarm hosts earlier, and there it is. Swarm hosts are indeed on the way, but we are still not saturating that 4th expansion here. Very, very low drone count. We have more drop lords or more overlords on the way for eventual drop play. And how committed are we going to be as we have 9 swarm hosts? That's a lot of swarm hosts amassing. Okay. I mean, we mentioned on Winter Madness how swarm hosts can struggle when your opponent's being the aggressing player, but MasTer's been very passive this game. MasTer, he has only moved out with Adepts and with Oracles. He has not actually had a main push. So he's giving Erik a lot of time, giving a lot of freedom. As we're building out more swarm hosts, there is a direct path into the natural where a lot of the tech is actually. True. Erik, he still hasn't joined, by the way, this entire time. He has not been joining. Locust wave towards the 4th. Ling Rush distracting on the left-hand side. Nice storm on the Locust. Storm is spent. Another storm with the roaches. Do we bring down the Archon? The Archon will go down. Not bad. It brings down the Archon. More reinforcements coming in. This is a shaky trade here from MasTer, losing a lot of his high-tech units. High Templar and Archons. I'll switch down the roaches. Locust wave is almost ready. Do need a little bit more time here. Got a couple of locusts trickling in. Swarmers are kept alive. And the way that Erik is using Swarmers here is interesting. So usually against this kind of composition you have Ling Roach Ravager. Technically you're saving money by going for Locust Waves instead of Zerglings. And hey, they're trading well. They collapse on the oh my god, so many Stalkers go down. Yeah, Stalkers are going down. The army's being broken. The Locust Wave does come in, catching a couple of High Templar. Breaking through the stack defense, and this low ground base is being broken. It's going to be going down. MasTer is fighting for it. He will lose his Archon. 0 hits. Oh, he does weapons on my Templar, but he needs time for Storm. There's the NG overcharge. He has 1 Storm. Yeah, he has 1 Storm available. Erik, he does not care. He sells on the water. He goes for the kill, and he breaks on through. GG gets called, and Erik, he will tab the series. We are going to the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Very interesting use of swarm hosts here, where swarm hosts are usually used to harass and to like pull apart your opponent's attention. Here instead they were used to reinforce the army, and they were used in kind of to substitute Zerglings instead. Usually it's Ling Roach Ravager, and it can be difficult to keep those Zerglings going. We've seen that in other games in this series, where once the Zerglings start running out, then the aggression ends, right? The aggression does end when you run out of Zerglings. But here, instead of having Ling support, we have the Locust Waves, and they as long as you can keep the swarms alive, you just keep having those Locust Waves to keep the pressure up. Remember, we cut workers early on 64 workers. Like, Erik was very much so 3 base all in. He was 3 base all in, but an interesting variation with 9 swarm hosts with non-stop Locust Waves, and eventually he did break MasTer. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're getting into the final game of the series. We're going to be loading into the ace match. We're tied up 3-3, and we're getting into game 7. Going to be loading into 10,000 feet. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg. Representing the CranKy Ducklings, he's one of our own, papi. He's our boy. He's El Patito. It is Erik. Stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo, the most important part, papi. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. Here we go. As we are getting into our next game, as we are diving into our, as we have found ourselves in the ace match of this best of 7 grand finals. We've made it all the way to the final game of the series. on 10,000 feet of all maps, which means we have confirmation the vetoes were Mothership and Celestial Enclave, two of the more extreme maps out there. Does make sense to get rid of them, as Celestial Enclave does favor defensive turtle heavy Protoss play. Meanwhile, Mothership can favor Zerg players, especially with some of that RNG factor and how open some of the bases are. So we got rid of some of the more extreme maps, and we find ourselves on 10,000 feet. Now, here on 10,000 feet, short rush distance by ground. True, short rush distance by ground. The last time we spawned in on this map, Erik did mine through these minerals, and he went for a massive link flood. But we don't want to do that again here in tonight's broadcast against the same player. So this time, hatch gas pool, standard opener out of Erik. Standard opener so far. Love Storm. Storm hosts are a very niche unit. They're very, very niche. But I have noticed that Erik, he does like to come up with certain styles that make use of them, right? Like we have seen like 2-base Storm host all-ins against Terran, or last game, again, a 3-base all-in with Storm host against Protoss. But once again, that was very niche. I do think that was heavily reliant on MasTeR being the defender, right? On MasTeR being more defensive and being more just being stuck at home as well, not really being active on the map. That's where Storm host can struggle if you're on the back foot trying to defend and survive. But it was very unique usage of said Swarm host. Very unique. As with that, we are now building up. We do have our initial 3-base setup here. Link speed is on the way. Erik, he does pull out of gas. Now, typically when it comes to 10,000 feet, it is a little bit easier to be defensive, specifically in regards to the 3rd and 4th base. Protoss players, we have seen them be quite successful at turtling up on 4 bases and building up as well. But what I will say is we haven't really seen that kind of style out of MasTeR, outside of last game, where he was being more defensive. But typically we've been seeing MasTeR be more active and aggressive and kind of fight Erik for map control. That's usually how MasTeR approaches this kind of game. We'll see how he approaches. Like, I feel like a lot of this is going to be on MasTeR and his approach to 10,000 feet. Erik's still just droning, taking his spores. From here, we're expecting a safety roach warren and an Evo chamber. Those are our expectations. So Oracle pokes in. Once again, early Twilight Council into a Forge. We're expecting +1 and Blink. Actually, let's take the forward base. Let's take the forward expansion. Settling into our game. Oh, this time, despite the Forge, we're going into Glaive Adepts. Okay. Bold move. +1 isn't really going to be a factor coming into assisting the Glaive Adepts, but this will be a factor when it comes to the follow-up. Extra gateways being thrown down. There's no 4-gate glaives. We're getting up to 5 gateways. We might even go up to 6. So a heavy commitment here from MasTeR. But Erik does get a safety roach warrant. And all we need is roach production. Like, if we play it safe, we make roaches, then Erik should be okay. Likewise, Erik, he has yet to scout across the map. He's not moving in. Yeah, well, does move in. I mean, seeing the Forge screens blink is the issue here. And he will not even see the Forge. Yeah, the Overlord Scout is denied. Erik's not aware of what's going on. He's not aware of that. Erik gonna be zoned away. And behind this, Erik thankfully is making some safety roaches, and he isn't running up too much. Like, this is the issue with going glaive adepts against Erik, because that's a lot of adepts, that is true, but Erik is not one to drone. Like, even when he's greedy tech-wise. He doesn't often drone up too heavily. He's adverse to droning, Pappy, so he's somewhat ready for this, somewhat at least. Gets one adept. Does get one. Roaches are ready. Adepts are deflected. At the same time, Lings, they try to counterattack. They will get eyes on Stalker reinforcements. Hoping to delay the fourth. These adepts are at least keeping Erik busy, but Erik is getting ready for his own breakout. Roach speed is on the way. This one is done. MasTeR has +1, now working on +2. We'll have that upgrade lead. And Erik, he's now droning. He does not move out. I assumed that he was going to just break out across the map and push, but no. He is gaining map control, that is true, but he's droning it behind this. And once again, infestation bit, are we once again looking for swarm hosts? We've seen it twice now in this series. Seen it twice. Do we see it a third time? There it is. Swarm hosts are on the way. Again, I did find it quite fascinating with how they were being utilized earlier, but we'll see if we can get away with it this time. Yeah, Lings, they collapse on the Stalkers. Nice pickups. Ooh, catching it 1, 2, 3 Stalkers. 4. Blink is late. Yes, a missing control there by MasTeR, bleeding out a lot of Stalkers. That's 5 Stalkers going down. Some expensive losses. Swarm is still building up. Soon to be 11 Swarm hosts. Okay. Getting up to 11. Catching some of these Stalkers. I'm not quite able to. Does get 2. Yeah, 2 Stalkers go down, but all the Lings are going to be running out, and here comes a Locust Wave. Locust Wave will buy some time. What I appreciate here is that we're staggering the Locust Waves intentionally so only a couple of Locusts. We'll still have another wave. We don't want to waste them. Yeah, Ling's going to be diving in. Coming in for this round. Oh! I mean, there's no stasis. Yeah, there's no stasis right behind this. A lot of Stalkers are going to be falling. Do we have that Locust Wave? Well, we're using it. Mineral Line, okay. That's a bold move. Yeah, very, very risky here. At the same time, drone's going to be going down. Adepts, they do shade in. Yeah, they shade into the Mineral Line. 14 drone kills at the same time. Locust Wave into the third. Does he kill the Nexus? The battery! The battery! Yeah, the battery does help, but the Nexus will still go down. Massive pickoff. Down goes the base. So Erik, you may have lost the Mineral Line, but MasTeR is only mining on 3 bases anyway. He's long distance mining. So we have that back and forth. Locust Wave is resetting. He can go for it once again. Do we go for the Nexus or do we go for the army? Remember, there is no splash damage. Locust Wave being sent. Pushing towards the southern base. Do we get both bases? No shot. Center expansion is going to be denied. Locust Wave here into the main army. Picking up Zealots. Yeah, catching out Zealots, catching out some of the side defense. The base does survive. Yeah, messy defense here from MasTeR. Erik, he's maxed. Microbo Shroud on the way. Ultras as well. We're getting there. Working towards Ultra Tech. Casito, papi, casito. But again, it was so risky holding onto that Locust Wave for as long as Erik was. In the end, it paid off. Stalkers just blink forward, which means now we can trade. Oh, yeah, that was a crazy blink. Losing 3, 4, 5, 6 Stalkers. Heavy losses here from MasTeR. He blinked into the Locust Wave. Does save the base, but at the cost of a mineral line and a massive chunk of Stalkers. That was not worth it. That was 13 Stalkers going down. 13. And we just keep doing this. We just do it over and over again. Going for another wave. Stasis Trap will help. Erik, does he notice? So Erik, couple of piles deals friendly fire. Yeah, friendly fire at the same time. Erik comes in from the right hand side. Locust Wave is coming in as well, but there is a stasis. And Stasis Traps are triggered. We still unload though. Yeah, they still land. And that's still 2 pylons going down and 13 probes. So much damage in so little time. Duh. Yeah, 13 probes, and MasTeR just can't keep up. He cannot sustain these losses, not anymore. MasTeR being forced into the all-in. Roach pushing forward. Once again, Bars connecting. A little bit messy here by Erik, a little bit, but the Locust Wave is about to be reset once again. And he's going for it. He's going for the Locust. Yeah, pushing towards the main army, buying more time. No Ultralisk yet, as we do have the Ultra Cavern and the upgrades are finishing. Oh, actually he still gets the base. Wow, he still takes down the expansion. MasTeR is 3 base all in. Locust Wave is on cooldown. True. It's on cooldown. So they try to collapse on the Swarm Host. They get one. Barely one Swarm Host. And now we have Ultra Reinforcements. Now we have the Ultralisk. They're coming. 3 Infestors on the way. 2 Ultras as well. GG gets called. We're going to get to see the Ultras as Erik. He will overwhelm. He will claim this series 4-3, becoming the Amantes StarCraft number 45 champion. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a very bold move going Swarm Host against an aggressive Protoss this time, and it was scary. It was a scary moment for sure. I do appreciate that, again, Erik, he was staggering his Locust Waves to make sure he always had a Locust Wave behind it early on against the first aggressive move, against the first push. In the end, he was able to punish those Stalkers, and then he was quite greedy, holding onto that Locust Wave a little bit longer. In the end, he held on. He was able to get across the map and kill that forward expansion, specifically on 10,000 feet. That forward base is exposed. That's why it's a forward expansion. It is further and closer to your opponent. It has the mineral line facing your opponent as well, so it's a reverse backwards base, and it is vulnerable to siege units. So typically, we say that it's vulnerable to tanks, lurkers, broodlords, tempests. These kind of units do punish that center expansion. Swarm hosts also fall under that as well. And they were able to break that nexus 2-3 different times and deal devastating damage. GG, well played. So again, I should emphasize as well, if you watch this game and if you're inspired, that specifically one of the strengths of going Swarm Host here was the map itself, right? Was 10,000 feet. The fact that that's a reverse base, so it is more vulnerable and more exposed to Locust Waves to be able to punish the economy and punish the expansion itself, and Erik was able to make full use of that. But it was still very impressive that Erik survived the initial Stalker push with those Swarm Hosts as well. GG. Whew. GG, well played. With that, congratulations, Erik. He will claim the series. He will take down MasTeR. GG, very well done, very well played. And shout out to MasTeR, because we had an intense back and forth here. Again, MasTeR and Erik, they are the two best players in Brazil. They often have these back and forth moments, and they often have these close kind of series. They're the darkened hero of Brazil. True. Often back and forth. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Erik, and a shout out to MasTeR again for being our finalist here and for making it all the way to the ace match and for almost winning it himself. It was very tense for sure. Likewise, a shout out to Kamikaze. Kamikaze got top 3. Who typically we have Inexorable in the top 3 instead as the best Terran in Brazil, but no, Kamikaze did surpass Inexorable this month and did take that mantle himself. So very impressive play out of Kamikaze. GG, well played. With that, we are going to be wrapping up here for the morning. Going to be wrapping up here. When it comes to the rest of our schedule, the rest of our broadcasting, we should be live later on tonight with Tuna Cup. We have the Sparkling Tuna Cup this evening. Likewise, we also have more content throughout the course of the week. We have What Is New Mondays. We have Pegastar Cups as well. So plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We are going to be wrapping up here. We also have the podcasts, and we have plenty of content throughout the week. I will say that tentatively we have a cast every day, but only tentatively. There have been things happening IRL, and because of that, I might be unavailable one of these days. Same with the morning broadcast as well. So it's all a little bit tentative. It's all up in the air. Just as a heads up. So if you see like one of these days we don't end up casting one of our scheduled events like that, it could happen this week, could happen. So just bear that in mind. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it, and take care. We'll see you guys later on tonight for Tuna Cup, for the Sparkling Tuna Cup. We'll see you tomorrow for Pegastar Cup as well. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. If you want to support us, you can do so via following us. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias out there. If you want to follow us. Otherwise, you can check us out over on Patreon as well. Our Patreon is set up to fund our tournaments on a regular basis, so you can help support and fund Tuna Cup via the Patreon as well, and help support us. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support, and we'll see you guys next time we'll see you guys later on tonight for Tuna Cup, or we'll see you tomorrow for Pegastar Cup. See you then. Hasta luego. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. Hasta luego.